This is the Amber Collection Pteranodon, aka a total piece of trash. Now let me tell you something about the Amber Collection. It was the first collector's line that Mattel had ever, tried. And honestly, it was such a cool thing when it first came out. I was so excited for it. And, the figures, they look really nice. Just looking at it, wow, it's an articulated pteranodon. We don't really have those. And yeah, they look really nice. I'll also bring in another one over here. Personally, my favorite Amber Collection figure, the Delta. And this one, the Velociraptors weren't bad. They still were really, they have issues. The thing is, I think the paintwork on this Amber Collection is way better. At least, okay, not the newer Amber Collection. The one that they did right before they stopped, like the Pteranodon. Just look at this. It looks absolutely terrible. But the first Amber Collection figures, such as the Jurassic Park style Velociraptor, that one looked really good. And this one looks really good. The Raptor Squad looked really good, except for maybe Echo, They used the Camp Cretaceous style, and I don't like that. But the Delta, I just love the colors on this one. The patterns look really nice, and it just looks really good. And I think that's something that Hammond Collection might be lacking. I think the paintwork on them could be improved. It's a strange thing. The Amber Collection had really good paintwork, but really bad quality of the plastic and rubber, or rubber mostly. And the Hammond Collection has better quality, but worse paintwork. So you can't have both, I guess. But I just want to show you what is so bad about these. Well, at least on this Velociraptor, you can see, the tail has fallen off because this rubber is so low quality and bad. After 8 months, it starts to get hard and not as rubbery as it used to be, and it cracks and it just basically disintegrates. Also, the joints got really loose pretty fast. So yeah. But the Pteranodon is by far the worst, I think, at least in my experience. Just look. It was not like this when I first put it in the case. And a few months ago, I brought it out and I'm like, why is there such a big crack in that? It's just basically in there rotting. There's so many cracks and tears in this that and it's gotten really stiff over time. And it's not it's springy. I'll show you. You can't really, well, I guess this side isn't as bad, but this side, you can't really move this arm back anymore because it just springs back into place. It has so many issues, and it's really a sad thing because like I said, there's no other articulated pteranodons out there. Hopefully, maybe Beast of the Mesozoic might bring one out at some point. Now that would be epic. But I was thinking to myself, I was staring at this thing. Honestly, it's just, you can't do anything to fix this at this point. It's just sitting there rotting, basically. So I was thinking, well, is there anything I can do with this? And I had an idea. And maybe I can turn this piece of trash into an articulated Ankyloranodon. And you know how much I love the chaos effect. It's basically my favorite Jurassic-related anything. And I thought, well, this might be a cool experiment to see if maybe I could fix this. So that's what I'm doing today. And hopefully it doesn't turn out terrible. And if it does, well, you won't be seeing this because, well, I'm not going to make a video about nothing. So what my plan is, well, actually, I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with these wings. I might just completely scrap them and make my own wings, because I do have the material to do that. But I'm also going to give it a tail, so that's going to be interesting. yeah, but basically I'm just going to add some clay to it, make it look like an Ankyloranodon, and, well, that's pretty much it. That's it. Okay, so to solve the wing problem, I did something I've never done before, so I'm not entirely sure how it was going to go, but, you know, it turned out decent, I guess. I was going to make a wing out of hot glue using the original Ankyloranodon's wing as, like, a base, like, just to make the mold. And, you know, it doesn't look... Okay, it looks really bad. But, you know, for hot glue, it's probably as good as you're gonna get it. Because, you know, I have hot glue and I have wires, and it's an easy fix. It's not gonna look very good, but it will be better. At least it's not falling apart. Now, how do I attach this? So I think I'm just gonna have to tear this rubber off and then just, like, glue it onto the joint. And then we'll see how it goes. I'll try to smooth it out some more. But, you know, this is the best that I'm gonna get. And that took so long. I am not excited to do the other wing now. Okay, so after like 5 hours of making wings and tail, I finally have this pteranodon. Well, I guess it's an Ankyloranodon now. Mostly done. I just need to add like the armor and some modifications to the head. But most of it is all done, and I think it turned out okay. So, over here, of course, you can see I did mess up on the wings. So this one was just really thick. I didn't mean it to make it that thick, and then the second one came out way better. So I'll use this for something else. But yeah, we have this. And the tail, honestly, I really like the way the tail came out. I honestly didn't even really try with this. I just wanted to get it done. But, you know, it's whatever. But this part was really fun to make. Just sticking on these little spikes, and then it was a fun thing. And then it attached nicely, and then of course I put a wire in it so you can bend it and do whatever you want with that. Same with the wings, which I will go through it full demonstration at the end of the video. But right now, I think this is a pretty cool pose with it. I think the wings might be a little bit too long for it. I'm not entirely sure, just something looks off, but I think it's fine. I'm not gonna mess with it. Yeah, so now it's time for the rest of clay, and then I'll paint it. So, yeah, let's just go ahead and get to that. Well, it is finally time to reveal the custom Ankyloranodon made from the Amber Collection Pteranodon. Here it is, and I really hope it doesn't get stuck in the spider web. Yeah, I didn't record the painting process just because it's a huge hassle and I would really just much rather take my time and not have to worry about recording. So that's what I did. And you know what? I think this figure turned out okay. It's definitely not as good as the original Ankyloranodon, so of course for comparison, how am I gonna put this? It doesn't stand up and it's getting stuck in this stuff. You know what, that's fine. So yeah, there's the original for comparison. You know, I think it looks similar. Of course, it's not as smooth as the original. What I was trying to do is just kind of make a more realistic looking Ankyloranodon, and I think I accomplished that one okay, at least for what I had. And also, this stand is awesome. I just want to say that the only reason to get the Amber Collection Dimorphodons is for this stand. It's literally just the most amazing pterosaur stand I've ever had. Honestly, if Mattel released just these stands, I'd get like 50 of them because I use them so often. It's awesome. I wish they released more of them, but you know what? They didn't, and I guess I just have one for now on. Okay, so let's just go ahead and take a closer look at this figure. As you can see, I added some clay to the head, and to just give it some more shape and texture, to make it more like Ankyloranodon-y. And I added these spikes on the jaw. These are actually probably the hardest part because they kept falling off and I had to eventually super glue them on, which didn't make them look very good, but you know what, it's whatever. I don't care if this figure doesn't look that good. It still looks good enough for me, okay? Yeah, so I added all this face stuff and I gave it a beak and I think it looks really, well, I say that, it already had a beak, but like it has this curved beak. And I think it looks really good. I am actually surprised it's holding up so good because I was expecting it to break off, but it's actually doing well. There is a crack here, which I tried to fill up with some purple, but it's whatever. I don't really care that much. Yeah, so I painted it just mainly purple and green and black, which is just the colors of the Ankyloranodon. But one thing that it is different is, of course, the club at the end of the tail and the eye. So I actually painted these in glow-in-the-dark paint because that's the only color of paint that resembled this sort of color. If we compare them, they are slightly different. One is more orange and this one's more red, but it was the closest that I got, and I decided, well, you know what, that would look really cool, and you know what, I did it, and yeah. And of course, as you already saw me make, I did make the wings out of hot glue and a wire. All I did was just hot glue this to the joint here and this part. I made a cut here so that way you can fold this like the newer pteranodons, and just to give it more posability options. And of course there's wire in it, and that's pretty cool. It actually doesn't look as bad. Like I showed earlier, I made an original one that was just way too thick, and I made a new one that is much more thin and looks way better, more like an actual pterosaur wing. We also have the spikes on the back. Osteoderms, what even are they? They look more like ankylosaur plates. I mean, just look at this. This looks more like an ankylosaur, stegosaur plate. What am I saying? Yeah, but you know what, whatever. I'm actually pretty proud of these. These look decent at least. They're okay, and they haven't tried to fall apart yet, so I'm happy about that. Except for minus this part, because that happened. I accidentally squished it when I was trying to paint, and it was still a little bit wet. I didn't realize it, and I just never fixed it because I was too lazy to do it. This part, I was just flopping it around too much, trying to record a part. But that's just my fault. And of course, they're all painted nicely in a glossy black, as well as even the ones on the tail. But the original doesn't have that because they were lazy, and I was also lazy, but I also painted this. That made no sense at all. As well, I also painted the claws, which they didn't paint, or even any of these claws and spikes. So, I mean, I guess I'm less lazy than Kenner. Which, I mean, Kenner was pretty lazy, but not as lazy as some of the newer companies. Yeah, so then once we get down to this club, I made this out of clay, of course. And it's actually super nice. It dried really well, and there's no cracks in it. It hasn't tried falling apart, and it feels like plastic almost. And yeah, the tail does have wire in it, as I showed when I was making the update, and you can bend it all the way up to here. Of course, where it's a little more thicker, you can't really move this part, but everywhere else you have some nice mobility in the tail, so you can twist it, do all sorts of different things with it, and I think that's really fun. It's really fun to pose this and do all this. And like I said, this is painted in glow-in-the-dark paint, so we'll see that later. It's going to be super epic and awesome and amazing. But yeah, I think that pretty much covers anything. I did realize later on I forgot to paint the teeth, which this figure doesn't really have teeth because it's supposed to be a pteranodon, and pteranodons don't have teeth, but for some reason the Jurassic World figures do. I don't know why, but I just forgot to paint that. But you know what? It doesn't look that bad. I don't really care if it has painted teeth or not. It doesn't really make a difference to me. But yeah, there we go. There's a little bit of a closer look at the face there. The wings, of course. They're wingy, and that is pretty much all there is. And before we look at it glow in the dark, I will just do a quick articulation demo, just because why not? I mean, something else to do. Of course, it has pretty much the same articulation, just added the tail. But yeah, I guess we'll just do that real quick. Well, that is it for this video, and if you did enjoy, well, I hope you did enjoy, and if you found this video helpful, I hope you did, and I hope maybe you want to make your own Ankyloranodon, because honestly, it's pretty fun, and the Amber Collection Pteranodon is trash, so I mean, might as well do something cool with it. So yeah, thanks for watching. Also, I also forgot to mention, but you could probably do this with the Hammond Collection Geosternbergia as well. I'm not entirely sure if its wings are as bad as these. I hope not, but it's the same like body, like and everything. So you could probably do that. It has a different crest though, but you know, it doesn't really matter. I just thought I'd throw that in. Yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.